Welcome to another quick review from Ultimate DIY, and today we are going to look at a PEX crimping tool. Alright, this PEX tool is made by a company called CPTEC. Now, they're not a company that's been around a long time, but what I can tell you about the company that I did find out while researching them is they make a very good quality tool, very heavy duty. And they try to think about the person who's going to be using the tool and things like the handles. When you first look at this tool, the first thing I notice is the actual composite grips. Now, composite grips are great because it's going to make it easier on your hands while you're working it, but that's only part of the story. A lot of grips I see are really just, they're not very well made, and they do not have a good smooth coating on the outside. They do not have any type of grip areas for me to be able to hold and stay a hold of the actual tool. But by not making them correctly, it makes it very hard to be able to actually clean the tool. So you have to think about it. You are going to be using this tool probably in bad environments, dirty environments. So you're going to need to clean it. It's probably going to get thrown into a toolbox. This tool does not come with its own case. You keep it in your toolbox. Like in my case, I have a big toolbox that has everything from my cutters, all of my, my crimpers, all of my plumbing tools in this big box. So I'll carry that in, open it up, and I pull everything out. Well, when this gets thrown in there, it's liable to get very dirty, and occasionally you're going to want to go and probably clean it back up. So that's the first part that I notice on these when I'm looking at them, is they did a really good job of making a nice handle, and they don't slide around, they don't come off, they're comfortable. Now, when I say don't slide around and come off, I've had a lot of these where they're just kind of glued on and they just come right off. And you can feel it the second you get it. These have been put together, though, very well. Now, the rest of this is all going to be steel. Now, the handle parts here that connect where your grips are at is a hollowed out steel. And what that does is two things. It's going to make the tool stronger because of the hollowness in it, the way that it curves. And the other thing it's going to do is it's going to get rid of some weight. Most of your weight in this tool is in the head. It needs to be strong because it's doing the crimping, so it's going to be heavier. But this whole tool, including the head, everything, weighs just a little over 3 pounds. So when we move up to the head, you're going to notice that it is steel as well, but they have treated this so that it is not going to, get grimy and rusty and things like that. Now, it's like any other steel tool, though. You're still going to want to treat it, keep some oil on it, and make sure that you don't leave it wet and in a wet environment all the time, but at least they coat it for you to try to slow that down. So if you get in a hurry and you happen to not do it one time, you come back, it's not going to be a rusted up mess that won't work. Now, when you turn it over, everything that is holding this together has little bolts going through it with locking nuts. And I do like that because if it starts getting loose, I can adjust those or tighten it. And they give you a little tightener on the side here, which you can tune this thing over time. A lot of tools, when you crimp and you crimp and you crimp and you use them over time, they start getting out of adjustment. Some of those tools you have to go to a pro shop and have them adjust it. This one, you don't have to do that. It's got its own dial. You'll loosen the little nut on the back, you'll turn it, tighten it back, and you're back in business. Now, the jaws themselves, there's a couple of things that they have done. I told you already about the coating for rust and corrosion and things like that, but they have taken and smoothed these out. I mean, it is extremely smooth. And the reason that they do that is when you are crimping something and you tighten down, if you have burrs in there, it's liable to make lines in the crimping ring. And this is what your crimping ring is going to look like right here. So it's a copper ring that'll be black in color, at least this one is. And if you have little grooves, it's liable to leave a little lump sticking up, which could cause a possible leak. So you want that to be very smooth. Now, the other thing they do is they have both the 3/4 and the half. Now, a lot of your tools out there do that as well, but there's an awful lot of them that do not. I've seen some that you have to have a separate tool for a half and some a separate tool for a 3/4. I've seen some that have heads. You have to change the heads out. Now, there are other sizes besides the half and 3/4. There's some sizes smaller and there's some sizes larger. But most of the time, you're going to find the larger ones more in a commercial environment, and you may have to have a separate tool for the big ones. But this will still work in commercial or residential. And like I said, that's your two most popular or most used sizes. So that is it basically in a nutshell, the tool. Now I'm going to explain to you a little bit of what the PEX tool is and how it works. There are basically two leading types of PEX right now, PEX A, PEX B. PEX B is this, and it's going to be a crimping system. Now PEX A is going to be this type tool, and these little wings will spread out, and it will use a little plastic sleeve like this right here, and it swells it out, and it's called expansion. So it's going to use an expansion ring, and it will, once you pull the tool away, it starts closing back, and it will get stronger over time. That's one of the nice things about PEX A. The problem with PEX A is the tools are not cheap. They're expensive. So if you're not wanting to buy an expensive tool, you're going to be PEX B. If you're a professional, you're going to probably need both systems because you don't know what you're going to run into when you go into some place and maybe do a repair. If they have all PEX B, you're probably going to want to stick with PEX B. That's what they have, because even the PEX itself is different. It's not exactly the same. So that being said, what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you, bring you in and show you how it actually works. Now, before we do that, there are two other things I meant to mention. They do give you a nice little pamphlet that kind of gives you all the, it's basically one little sheet flyer that tells you how to use it, but the system's very easy to use, as you'll see in a minute. But they do give you some information here, and they're going to give you the gauge. Now, this gauge is really cool, and I'm going to show that to you up close as well, but it is a go or no-go gauge. And basically, when you crimp, you're going to slide it over, and if it fits inside of there, you know you did it right. If it doesn't, you did it wrong. You're going to either need to try to recrimp a little more, or you may ultimately have to cut that ring off and start over if you didn't get it right, or you're ultimately going to have a leak or a good chance of a leak. So I'm going to pull you in, and let's see how this thing works up close. All right, so the very first thing is you're going to want to use good cutters so that you can actually make a really nice straight line. And the fitting itself, this is actually a dual fitting. I have a half on this side and I have a 3/4 here. And you're just going to take it and slide it in. Now, obviously, I can slide the ring from that side because this is so small, but technically you'd really want to put the ring on first. I slide it in and I pull the ring up to right at the middle. Leave just a little bit showing here, and you should be good to go. Now we are going to take this, open it up, and we place it right over that ring. Now I'm going to try to do this where you can see, but you're going to take it and you're going to compress it all the way till it stops. So we're going to start that right now, and there it is. It stopped. It will not go anymore. And then you just simply back it off just like that, and now that is ready to check. So it is all the way crimped. It's not going to come. Now, you just so you know, these are meant to be able to turn. If it turns, that's normal. Don't panic. They all do that. So we are going to take the 1/2 inch side. So we look at the tool. If it fits in here, it's a no-go. If we go down here, it's a go. So we are going to take the no-go first. Does not fit. We are going to try the go. And we are perfect. So let me turn it this way so you can see the lettering. So if I put it in, I'm all the way inside. I have absolutely no problem. That is So there you go. I am thoroughly impressed. It works extremely well. The movement on it is great. The weight is perfect up in the head so that it just has a great feel, and it's easy to operate. So if I was going to rate this on a scale of 1 to 5, I'd have to give it 5 stars because they've done everything that they said they were going to do when I read the description. And matter of fact, in real life, I think it's even better than the actual pictures and the description gave it credit for. So if you're looking for a really good crimper, something that's going to last for a long time, whether you're a DIYer or a pro, I don't think you're going to go wrong with these. Do yourself a favor, pick yourself up a pair today, and we'll see you guys on the next review.